Welcome back to bmaster79. In this video we're working through an ielts speaking part 1 topic noise and quiet places. We'll take 4 real questions, brainstorm each one out loud so you can see how the ideas are built, and then deliver a full band 9 answer for every single one. Stay to the end for the complete transcript and a language bank you can steal from. Part 1 is the opening 4 to 5 minutes of the speaking test straight after the identity check. The examiner asks about familiar, everyday topics, your home, your work or studies, your hobbies, your habits. You get about 3 topic sets with roughly 4 questions in each, so around 12 questions in total. The most important thing to understand is that this is a warm-up conversation, not a speech. The examiner simply wants to hear whether you can talk about ordinary things fluently. Nothing in part 1 is a trick question. Your speaking score comes from 4 criteria: fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. Each one is worth 25%, and your final band is the average of the 4. That means a single weak area drags everything down with it. Keep those 4 headings in mind, because every choice we make in the answers is aimed at one of them. Here is today's topic set: noise and quiet places. 4 questions. Question 1: do you like quiet or noisy places, and why? Question 2: what are some sounds you like? Question 3: what kinds of noise do you hear in your daily life? And question 4: where is the noise louder, in cities or the countryside? Let's take them one at a time. There's a simple shape that works for almost every part 1 question. First, answer. Take a clear position in your very first sentence and never dodge the question. Second, reason. Say why. This is where words like because, partly because, and the main thing is belong. Third, extend. Add an example, a contrast, or a personal detail. One extension is enough. That's 3 to 5 sentences, roughly 20 to 40 seconds. What you want to avoid is a one-word answer at one extreme, which gives the examiner nothing to score, and a memorized speech at the other, which sounds rehearsed and actually damages your fluency mark. And question 1: do you like quiet or noisy places? Before you answer, think in 2 columns. On the quiet side, libraries, a park at dawn, an empty cafe before it opens. The reason: it's much easier to think when there isn't a constant hum in the background. On the noisy side, a busy market, a packed cafe, a live gig. The reason: that kind of energy is contagious, and total silence can feel flat. Now here's the band 9 move. Don't just pick a side and stop. Pick a side and then concede the other one. Concession forces complex grammar out of you for free. You'll produce contrast linkers and subordinate clauses without even trying. Here's the answer. I'm definitely more of a quiet place person, though it does depend on my mood. Most of the time I gravitate towards somewhere calm, a library, or a park early in the morning, because I find it far easier to think when there isn't a constant hum in the background. That said, I'd hate to live somewhere completely silent. Every so often I actually crave the buzz of a packed cafe, purely because that kind of energy is contagious. Notice what that does. The position lands in sentence 1. The phrase that said pivots into a concession, and 3 precise collocations do the heavy lifting: gravitate towards, a constant hum, and crave the buzz. Question 2. What are some sounds you like? 2 columns again. Sounds: I love heavy rain against a window, as long as I'm indoors. A coffee shop, the hiss of the steam wand cup clinking. Waves, a crackling fire, a cat purring. And sounds I can't stand: the drone of a leaf blower, car alarms, reversing beepers, drilling from the flat upstairs. The band 9 move here is this. Don't just name the sound. Say what it does to you. Sensory verbs and one sharp contrast will always beat a flat list of adjectives like nice, relaxing, and good. Here's the answer. Rain is probably my favorite, particularly heavy rain against a window when I'm safely indoors. There's something incredibly soothing about it. I'm also very fond of the ambient sound of a coffee shop, the hiss of the steam wand cups clinking, a low murmur of conversation. It's white noise, essentially, but it somehow helps me concentrate. What I can't stand, on the other hand, is the drone of a leaf blower. Look at the nouns doing the work there: hiss, clinking, murmur, drone. Those are specific sound words, not generic adjectives. And that final contrast stops the whole thing turning into a shopping list. Question 3. What kinds of noise do you hear in your daily life? This one is a list question, and lists are dangerous. They tend to come out random and repetitive, so give the list a spine. Morning traffic, the rumble of buses, the odd horn. Daytime, the low hum of the air conditioning, keyboards, phone notifications. Evening, children playing outside, someone's television through the wall, late construction work. That's the band 9 move, a chronological spine. It sounds organized without sounding memorized, and you can invent it on the spot for dozens of different part 1 questions. Here's the answer. Quite a variety, actually. In the morning it's mostly traffic, the rumble of buses and the odd horn from an impatient driver. During the day, if I'm working, it's the low hum of the air conditioning and the clatter of keyboards. And in the evening my neighborhood gets fairly lively, children playing outside, someone's television through the wall, and occasionally construction work that seems to start at the worst possible time. The spine is doing all the organizing there. And notice the last clause, a light touch of humor makes an answer sound spontaneous rather than rehearsed, which protects your fluency mark. And question 4. Where is the noise louder, in cities or the countryside? This is a comparison question, so it needs a comparative and then a qualification. City, traffic, sirens, construction, crowds, all layered on top of one another. Nothing ever stops. It's mechanical and more or less constant. Countryside, roosters, dogs, tractors, church bells. Surprisingly loud, but it comes in bursts. It's natural and intermittent. The band 9 move is to answer the comparison and then complicate it. Say which one is louder, and then challenge the assumption hidden inside the question, the assumption that the countryside is silent. Here's the answer. Cities, without a shadow of a doubt, at least in terms of sheer volume. You've got traffic, sirens, construction, and crowds all layered on top of one another, and it's fairly relentless. Having said that, I wouldn't call the countryside silent. Anyone who's stayed on a farm knows that roosters, dogs, and tractors can be surprisingly loud. The real difference is that rural noise tends to be natural and intermittent, whereas urban noise is mechanical and more or less constant. That answer takes a firm position, then refuses to accept the lazy premise of the question. And the pairing at the end, natural and intermittent versus mechanical and constant, is precise. That precision is exactly what lexical resource means. Here are questions 1 and 2 written out as a continuous exchange, exactly as it would run in the test. Pause the video if you'd like to read them properly. And here are questions 3 and 4. Again, pause and read. Notice how short each answer actually is on the page. This is 4 sentences, not a paragraph. Here's your language bank. On the left, collocations and sound words gravitate towards somewhere calm. A constant hum in the background. Crave the buzz of a packed cafe. Incredibly soothing. The hiss of the steam wand. A low murmur of conversation. The rumble of buses. The clatter of keyboards. The drone of a leaf blower. Sheer volume. Fairly relentless. And layered on top of one another. On the right, the discourse markers that hold an answer together that's said. Having said that, on the other hand, without a shadow of a doubt, quite a variety, actually, purely because, particularly, whereas, and every so often I actually learn the markers first. They're what make an answer sound connected, and they cost you almost nothing to memorize. So what does Band 9 actually look like in Part 1? Fluency and coherence. You speak at length without effort, and any hesitation is about the idea, not about the language. Lexical resourceful flexibility and precision, with natural collocation and idiomatic control. Grammatical range and accuracy. The full range used naturally, where errors are rare and are the kind of slips a native speaker makes. And pronunciation, a full range of pronunciation features sustained throughout and effortless to understand. One important caveat. This Band 9 rating reflects an internal quality check against the public ielts band descriptors. It is not a score awarded by a certified ielts examiner, and no model answer can guarantee you a band on test day. Write your challenge. Record yourself answering all 4 questions, 40 seconds maximum each. Play it back and count. Did you take a position in the very first sentence every single time? Then re-record and force in 3 phrases from the language bank. Post your favorite answer in the comments. I read everyone. And subscribe for a new ielts walkthrough every week. This has been BMaster79. See you in the next one.